Shortly after the derailment, I instructed my team to look at steps we could take to improve safety immediately. And we have announced a number of initiatives to do just that. These steps are just the start, and we look forward to working with policymakers and industry on others. We're also going to make our safety culture the best in the industry.
Okay, so that is Alan Shaw. He's the CEO of Norfolk Southern. That's the railroad company that keeps having trains derailing. He vowed yesterday to make his company's safety standards the best in the industry. That was testimony on Capitol Hill. He also, maybe more importantly, apologized to the residents of East Palestine, Ohio. This coming, though, just hours after yet another Norfolk Southern train derailed in Alabama. It happened just hours before he testified. Joining me now for more, former Pennsylvania Senator and senior Newsmax political analyst Rick Santorum back with us. Senator, great to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Rob. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about that for timing, though? This guy's got to take the stand yesterday and testify before a pretty upset Senate panel there. And just hours before he sat down, a train went off the tracks in Alabama. That makes four. What is going on? I know Pete Buttigieg claims this is normal. This is not normal.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you look at the numbers, the actual number of train derailments has gone down in the country over the years as safety has generally improved. But obviously, there's still problems, and really the question comes down to who do you trust to fix the problems? And do you trust Pete Buttigieg and the Department of Transportation? Do you trust Congress, or do you trust the rail industry? And I'm not sure I have a high degree of trust of any of them, but one has a very strong incentive to get safety right, and that's the rail industry, because this is not good for Norfolk Southern. It's not good for their company. It's not good for their public image. It's not good for their stock price. It's not good for a lot of things. Whereas if you look at the Department of Transportation, I don't see a whole lot of incentives for them to get it right. I think what you see from them is, how do I accumulate more power and control over the rail industry? And I'm not sure that is going to end up with government control with a better rail industry.
Notably absent yesterday, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. I wasn't surprised by that, but what did you make of that? Shouldn't he have been there?
I don't know. Maybe they're discussing another paternity issue. Issue.
Right.
I mean, he is. You talk about the Peter principle. We should call it the Buttigieg or the Pete principle, because this guy has risen to a level of incompetency that is rarely seen in government, and particularly given the fact he's Secretary of Transportation. I mean, he's not Secretary of Treasury or Secretary of State. I mean, he's Secretary of a sort of a minor cabinet position where I hear a quick test. Name the last 5 secretaries of transportation.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yeah, I can't name the last. Yeah,
I mean, that just tells you how bad he is.
Yeah, it's amazing. You make a good point. So, mayor of South Bend, Indiana, small town Indiana, meteoric rise, ran for president, got some traction, appointed Secretary of Transportation, and now I don't. What's he going to do after this? I'm surprised he's still in that job. Joe Biden doesn't get rid of anybody. I'm surprised Alejandro Mayorkas is still in the job. But Pete Buttigieg, I mean, completely inept to date in that role, 2 years. Okay, take a listen. J.D. Vance, senator from Ohio, testified yesterday on behalf of the people of East Palestine.
A certain segment of our leadership feels like the people of East Palestine are a little out of style. They have the wrong politics. They're a little too rural, maybe a little too white. Right now, as we speak, there are piles of dirt accumulating in East Palestine, piles of dirt filled with toxic chemicals that haven't been moved out of the state in a week. We have a choice. Are we for big business and big government, or are we for the people of East Palestine?
Senator, just quickly, about 20 seconds, but he's mentioning the political angle to this. You know, when this first happened, I said, no, the president of the United States is bigger than politics, because this area happens to be an area with a lot of conservative, likely, people who voted for Donald Trump. It seems like there's been some politics played here.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's pretty rank politics. I mean, you mentioned Buttigieg and his inattention to this, the president's refusal to really step in and do what every president does, which is when you go through a disaster of this sort, to step in and at least provide some showing that you care. Joe Biden, again, it's not his base. He's a divisive president. He's followed along the footsteps of Barack Obama, who is divide and conquer, and he continues to act that way.
Yeah. Senator, have a great weekend. Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.